In this video, we're going to talk about how to configure some of the time clock and payroll options for your FireFly POS system. Let's click on Configuration, Employees. And here we're going to go to time clock and payroll. Alright, let's look at some of these features. The first option lets you turn off the time clock. If you're using a different time clock system, this is recommended. Otherwise, leave it unchecked. Display clock on the clock employees on the login screen. This is a helpful feature that shows you who's on the clock every time you log in. Now you can configure your overtime. If your state requires overtime after 8 hours, check this box. If you live in California, you probably want California overtime. And you can optionally allow our holiday overtime feature, which lets you pay a time-and-a-half rate on days you specify. Okay. Overtime alerts help keep your managers informed when an employee is about to go into overtime. So, I want to get alerted within 30 minutes of daily overtime and 30 minutes for weekly overtime. Let's talk about labor performance. Our typical labor performance calculation shows graphs and charts based on labor percentage, which is a dollar amount of labor costs compared to a dollar amount of sales. We can also use labor productivity, which compares the number of hours worked to the total amount of sales. Alright, let's enable auto logout. If the employee forgets to log out of the system, they'll be logged out automatically. I like to leave the back end a little bit longer and the front end a little bit shorter. 5 minutes is good. This time will get refreshed every time an employee saves something in the system. So if you're going to be doing extensive menu work and you might not save, you might want to set that for a longer amount of time. Alright, let's talk about breaks. We've got a whole video that explains the break enforcement rules, but just for a quick overview, you can check your default break, whether you want to pay for a break, and if you're going to dock pay for breaks that go over this 15 minutes. Same thing for lunch, paid lunch, docking, etc. We'll skip the distributing salaries part because we've got a video on that as well, and then move to the payroll export. A couple different payroll export options here. If you use ADP, you're in luck. You can set up your company code and some of these details related to the export. And now let's save these changes. Okay, let's take a look at the schedule options. These are pretty simple. It allows us to set a minimum shift length that's scheduled. This is going to be based on your state labor laws as well. This is an important field, whether you want to verify the schedule for clock on. If you plan to use the schedule feature, it's useful to check this box. That way, the system won't allow employees to clock in early. Also, you can choose whether you want to record an employee late and how long of a grace period you'll give them. So, if an employee is later than, let's say, 7 minutes, we're going to record them as late. That'll show up in their employee record under schedule violations. Allow early clock in, we'll give them 5 minutes before their schedule. Okay, we can save this, and now we've got our schedule configuration set up.